we start, we're going in alphabetical order, I guess, by team nickname, because we start with the Commanders. We start with Washington, the Commanders. All right, so the Commanders draft, by the way, not for nothing, we were going to learn about this team, Frank, right? We were going to figure out exactly who they are and their identity. And I think that for a team that, frankly, felt like they had 732 picks in the second round alone, I thought they did really well. We all know Jaden Daniels was going to be their pick at number 2, but they get Johnny Newton, they get Mike Samerstill, somebody I like a lot, Ben Sinnott, the tight end out of Kansas State. Like, they went on a run in the second round where they got a bunch of players that people like.
Yeah, I give the Commanders an A. I mean, starting off, I just think Jaden Daniels was the right pick there. You wondered if they were going to overthink it. Look, Drake May would have been a fine pick there too, and I understand people arguing May would have been the better pick. I like Jaden Daniels. His production at LSU is just through the roof. You got to like that pick. Don't overthink it. Don't trade down. Don't just pick the guy. Jaden Daniels, great pick. And then I thought the Zerjon Newton pick to start the second round was great for them. He's a very disruptive defensive tackle. I thought he should have been a first round pick. I thought the Commanders got good value on him. He really helps kind of rebuild that defensive line, which was a strength of theirs for a while. It's getting a little older. Some pieces have gone elsewhere. Now they've kind of restocked the shelves there. Like you said, all the second round picks are good. Stanot, this tight end, I really liked him coming into the draft. I gave him an A. I really like this Washington draft. It sets them up really, really well for this rebuild that's kind of getting going right now.
I'll give him an A- because I think you're too willy-nilly with the A's, right? Like, we got to have a little bit of wiggle room here. So
I didn't give him any. I'll say this. We're starting with an A, but I did not give many of them.
Oh, that is the heck of a tease. I'll give him an A for every reason you just mentioned. And by the way, I think Jaden Daniels has the opportunity to be absolutely spectacular. So now we go to the Dallas Cowboys. Got a lot to get through here. So the Dallas Cowboys second up on our list. And look, so I need a little nuance here. I need everybody to just understand where I'm coming from. I think that this draft for the Cowboys was an A, maybe even an A+.
Wow.
I really liked this draft.
Really?
Yeah, I 100%. I really like, look, I think Cooper Beebe has a chance to be a very good player for him. Guyton made a ton of sense on the offensive line. Nealand is value as an edge rusher right there. I thought it was a really good draft. Everybody's obsessed over the running back position and obsessed over the concept of all in. I think they did a really nice job of going best player available in a way that still helps their team when they were on the clock. Do I think that they have made their team drastically better right now going into this season? No. I think the Cowboys, this is a weird part of it. I give the Cowboys draft an A+. I give the Cowboys offseason so far a B. I don't have the problem with it. But I also think the Cowboys are now stuck in a system where they're going to have to rely on Dak to be the heavy lifter, to be great for them, which means their overall season is looking like a C- because we don't know what the contract situation for Dak is going to be and the contract situation for CD. And the only way that they can succeed is if those guys absolutely go off, which is only going to make them more expensive. So the future of the Cowboys looks murky. But right now, this season of the Cowboys, I'm all in on the approach.
I gave the Cowboys a C. I would have liked to have seen them be more all in right now. Get what you are in a Super Bowl window. You can win right now. Tyler Guyton's going to be a good player probably, but he's pretty raw. I'm not sure exactly. He's an impact guy as a rookie. I did like Cooper Beebe. I thought that was a good pick. Nealand might take some time, though. It's a big step up in competition for him. And the no running back thing bothers me. They don't have an answer at running back. They've come to an agreement. Ezekiel Elliott's coming in. If you've seen Ezekiel Elliott any of the past 3 seasons, you know he's not exactly the superstar he was when he was drafted. He's not rushing for 1,500 yards for you. So it did bother me that they weren't more all about the impact player right now. This is a Cowboys team I thought should have went for it. I thought they should have gotten guys who can contribute right away. They didn't really do that. Look, Tyler Guyton might be a great player down the road. All these guys might really develop well, and that's good for the Cowboys' future, but I wanted them to be more all in right now. That's why I gave them a C. I did not love this draft for the Cowboys.
Yeah, but the thing of it is, we're obsessed about the running back, but what if they just didn't like the running backs that were available in free agency?
Well,
and what if they didn't like the running backs in the draft?
There had to be one running back in this world they liked. Like, there had to be one running back somewhere in the draft or free agency. Go get that guy. Don't just sit back on your head. So their running back room is a mess right now. It is terrible. And for a team that wants to be balanced with Mike McCarthy, I don't know that this is going to work necessarily. It's the worst running back room in the league right now, and that's not good for a team that likes to run the ball.
Well, I think at the end of the day, they looked around and said, fudge it. We don't care. We're just going to put everything on Dak, and Dak is going to have an MVP caliber season, which, by the way, I think he's capable of. Like, I still think the Cowboys pattern out to me to be a double-digit win team. Have they figured out what's going to get them over the top to win the Super Bowl? No, but like, That we can worry about in the playoffs. This whole death of the Cowboys presumes that they're going to finish with a losing record or barely make the playoffs. No, this feels to me like right now, they're the best team in their division. They've got the best roster in their division. They've got a good shot at going into the playoffs with a very high seed. What more could you ask for? Like, yes, I'm with you that maybe they didn't get a great solution to running back, but I also think that they got the best. They went best player available. I can't fault a team, Frank, that goes best player available never failed anybody. And I think that they did that. All right. So
I'll give you that, but I just wanted to see, look, the all-in thing is the all-in thing. I get it was kind of overdone, but it still should be their approach because the Super Bowl window is not going to last forever.
I'm going to keep my praise going. The Philadelphia Eagles might get an A+++. And look, if there was a best draft in the Eagles in this year's draft, the Eagles have to be one of the teams we consider for the second straight year. And this becomes really important given the contracts they've given out to their wide receivers and their quarterback. We all know they have to draft well. Well, they came in with a need at corner. And because of the run on quarterbacks early, Frank, corner was sitting there. They were able to take their pick of whichever corner they preferred. They went Quinion Mitchell, but then in the second round, Cooper DeJean just sitting there. They got to move up a little bit for him, but Cooper DeJean just sitting there. I love this. Aeneas Smith later in the draft. I think a good pick. Will Shipley, somebody they don't need a lot out of, but they can get something out of long term. Jeremiah Trotter, the linebacker out of Clemson, was one of the picks everybody was excited for day 3. Like, I think the Eagles just sat there and was like, holy, I cannot believe this. The board is falling to us. Like the football gods turned around and they just like longingly looked in the eyes of the Philadelphia Eagles and they kissed them in a way that makes the rest of the league uncomfortable.
I do like how you're keeping it clean and we're not having an explicit podcast today. Look, part of me says this overblown praise of Howie Roseman is just so out of control. I mean, Howie Roseman stops at Starbucks for a latte when there's no line in the drive-thru. Every NFL writer is like, the NFL did it again. They let Howie have everything. Like, he's the greatest of all time. Like, no matter what Howie Roseman does, as long as he wakes up on the right side of the bed, NFL writers think that he is walking on water, and it's really overdone at times. That said, Howie Roseman had a really, really good draft, and I gave them an A for every reason you said. Look, when need meets best player available, those are perfect picks, and I thought they made 2 of them. Quinion Mitchell, I thought could have gone in the top 12 or 13.
Yep.
He falls to the Eagles in the 20s. Perfect match. They need cornerbacks. And then Howie gets aggressive, moves up for Cooper DeJean, who could have been a first-round pick easily. A very multi-talented player out of Iowa. Again, they fit their needs. Howie was moving, like they made 9 trades, the most since has ever been tracked. They've tracked draft trades all the way back to 1990, the most ever. Very, very active, picked up some picks for the future, got some guys late in the draft, as you talked about, Trotter and all these guys who day 3, good dart throws, smart dart throws. Some of these guys are going to pay off for the Eagles. You have to give them an A. I get it. From my perspective anyway, that the Howie Roseman praise is out of control. But if you're giving Eagles anything but an A here, you really are trying too hard.
The Eagles get an A in that way that's like they walked into the classroom, they sat in the front row, they raised their hand first and just got everything right. And the rest of the class is just pissed, just sitting there. They're like,
I was that guy in the back of the class, right? My professors at University of Wisconsin, I wasn't even in the back of the class. I was back in the door and playing Madden. So
I was going to say, if you were in the back of class, you made it closer than I did because like I actually forgot to show up most of the time. But what are they doing making classes that early? It's not my fault. Yeah. All right. So from the A's and the heaping praise, the New York Giants next up on our grade list. And for me, Frank, it's kind of a C. And it's a C with the acknowledgement that Malik Neighbors, I think, has the chance to be one of the best wide receivers in this class. Obviously, everybody loves him. We thought they might go quarterback, and I respect a team that has the shot. For all the speculation, they're going JJ. JJ was sitting right there for him, and they're like, nah, we're good. We're fine. And They went Malik, and I have no problem with that. Don't reach at the quarterback if you don't love him. It just feels like Tyler Nubin's a guy that, eventually could turn out to be a pretty good player, but is a safety in the second round going to suddenly bridge the gap between where the Giants are and where the Giants want to be? Like Andrew Phillips is a guy that could develop into being somebody that's good in a couple of years. Will there even be the same regime? Like I thought they got okay players, but there's no immediate impact sensation to any of this for me.
Yeah, I gave the Giants a B because they didn't reach on quarterback, and they took Malik Neighbors, who is an incredible prospect at receiver. Marvin Harrison overshadowed him a little bit, but we all know Malik Neighbors is that kind of game-breaking receiver. Giants really haven't had since Odell Beckham was in his prime. This is really good pick for me. And the fact that you're right. They looked at J.J. McCarthy on the board and said, we're not in love with this guy because I've said a million times, you're drafting quarterback 6 overall. You're getting married. Like, you're going down with the ship, right or wrong. And that regime for the Giants said, no, this is not our guy, or neither is Michael Penix or Bo Nix or anybody else. We are going to stick to our board. Malik Neighbors. I like the guys they drafted second, third round. I think Neighbors helps him at safety. He's really good out of Minnesota. Andrew Phillips is fine for me. Helps at cornerback. They needed some secondary help. So I did like those picks. But the fact that they went Neighbors over just reaching on any quarterback when they still have Daniel Jones making a lot of money, they said, let's run it back with Daniel Jones. Was good 2 years ago, was bad last year, coming off the ACL. Let's just see what happens. And then next year we could draft a quarterback. There's plenty of quarterbacks in next year's draft. That's why I gave them a B.
But there's, and I'm with you, every player you just mentioned when we were doing the emoji process, I gave a fire to. I like the players. I just didn't walk away from the draft feeling like the Giants had ascended through this process. My only caution with Daniel Jones is that if you look, Nate Tice already put out his way too early top 25 of 2025. One quarterback made that list, and it wasn't Shedeur or Sanders. I think next year's quarterback class right now as we sit today, and I realize that, we didn't know at this point a year ago that Jaden Daniels was going to become who he is. So I understand this. But that being said, we go into next year's draft feeling like it is lean. So with Daniel Jones, I think they're going to be stuck for 2 years. So Malik Neighbors better make a big difference for this team. I think that's why Giants fans might be frustrated, but I'm with you. I give them some credit there. So we've wrapped up the NFC East. I would say, we didn't talk about doing this in advance, but I would say the biggest winner of the NFC East would be the Philadelphia Eagles. Best draft of the division to me. The worst draft of the division to me might be the Giants. I think you'll say the Cowboys, but I'll say the Giants. Even though the Giants was good, I think all of these teams drafted well. So I say Giants, you say Cowboys?
Yes, that's correct. Picking winners, losers at the end of each division, that is how it go. Yes, and the Eagles have to be the winner, right? Like this is, the Commanders are really good. You could talk me into that, but I think the Eagles it was a really, really good draft for them.